Hello, I'm Ana, and so today I bring you another movement exploration suggestion. So today we're going to be exploring laying down on your back and coming from that position to the sitting position. So we're going to do that in different ways, and so make sure, because it's going to happen on the floor, so make sure you can lay down on the floor and get up safely on your own. If not, you can ask for someone's assistance to do so. You can also try it on your bed. But today, maybe it's not for what we're gonna do. Maybe in bed isn't easier, but it's also a possibility. So whatever works for you, go ahead and try it. If it's not the right thing to do today, just respect that, okay? Respect what you feel, what you notice, what is your perception, and you can try it on a different day or not. So it's up to you, and whatever is right. So let's start by checking in with the body. Okay, so we're gonna lay down on the ground, on the floor. So I'm not using a mat because we're gonna roll a little bit. We're gonna probably get out of the mat. So I like to do it on the floor, but feel free to use a mat if you feel more comfortable. And just allow yourself to settle, to allow your body to accommodate to the floor or the mat. And just notice what it feels like to be laying down on your back with your legs extended. If it's comfortable or not, you may adjust the position to be more comfortable at any time. And just notice if there's anything that is grabbing your attention, if there's any sensation, any perception, just write it down on your mind, on your notebook. If there's any difference between the right and the left side of your body. If your right pelvis has the same support as your left. If your right leg meets the floor the same way as the left leg, the same for the arms, for example, or for the shoulders. Notice the sense of support of your entire back. If it feels supported and comfortable, or if you feel like there are big spaces between the spine and the floor. Okay, just take your notes, write down on your minds, and then let's just start by bending the knees and noticing that when we're laying down, we have support on our sacrum, which is the base of the spine. Okay, and you can move, it's your tail, your sacrum. You can move your tail and your sacrum a little bit, front and back, or to the sides, and just notice that it's there. You have a nice support there. And also when we lay down, we also have support on the ribs, on the rib cage. So I'm just picking up the elbows with the hands and just moving around the ribs a little bit. Just feeling the ribs, noticing the ribs on the right, on the left. There are ribs touching the floor. Not directly, of course. We have all the soft tissues, we have the skin. Okay? And then we also have support on the head. Now, can we agree that going from on our backs, laying down on our backs to sitting, it's moving our support from the head to the sit bones. So if I'm sitting, I have support on my sit bones. Okay? That's where I'm at. So today we're going to be exploring different ways of going from the sit bones to our head. Now, if I turn to the side, I can also feel I can have support on my ribs. The ribs on the right side. If I place my hand here, okay, I have ribs all from my waist to my armpits. Also, I have support on the hip area, okay, on the right hip. Now, if I turn to the other side, I feel the same. I can notice the same. Just notice the support on your ribs, on your left ribs, on the side of your ribs, and notice the support on your hip, on the side, on your left hip. Okay? Now, I'm going to suggest going from the head, support on the right side of the ribs, and then on your right hip, and then on the sit bones. And to return, moving from the sit bones to the hip, notice the hip, the ribs, and the head. Now from the head to the left ribs, find the ribs, to the left hip, and you can use your hands and your elbows, and then to the sit bones. And come back from the left side as well. Hip, and left ribs, and head. And let's just explore this a few times, coming up from the right side, to the ribs, and then the hip, and then the sit bones, and back from the right hip to the ribs, back to the head, and left ribs, left hip, and sit bones. So you're making this path. Left hip, ribs, and head. One more to the side. Right, ribs to the hip, to the sit bones, and let's keep going to the left. Hip, left ribs, and head. Now coming up from the left ribs, hip, to sit bones, and coming down from the right. And you may notice a difference, that one side is easier than the other one. One side is more available. So coming up from the right, so always try to do both sides so that you can notice the difference if there's any. It's always interesting information to know which sides of your body are more available for a certain movement. Okay? You may also try to do it using less and less hands, for example. Okay? The hand support, using less and less support. You may also challenge yourself, okay, in different ways. So now I'm going to suggest like a, how do you say, it's a shorter, like a shortcut, okay? So from the head, we're going to go to the right ribs, and from the ribs directly to the sit bones, okay? Sit bones to ribs, and ribs to head. On the other side, head to ribs, ribs to sit bones to ribs, ribs to head, head to ribs, ribs to sit bones to ribs, ribs to head, head to the ribs on the other side, ribs to the sit bones to ribs. It's not that my hip also touches the floor, but my attention doesn't go through that. It goes from one place to the other directly. And now if you want to challenge yourself even more, you may want to try to go from the head to the sit bones, and sit bones to the head. Or from the head to the ribs, to the sacrum, the tail, and sit bones to the sacrum, to the ribs and the head. So the more the shortcut you take, it's the harder you get. So if you go straight from the head to the sit bones, it's harder than if you go through all of the intermediate stages. Well, It's harder in theory, at least for me. For you, it may feel different. I don't know. Just try it out and see for yourself. So you may want to keep going on the sides or just going directly straight across. And then just allow yourself to get back to the first position and check in with your body, okay? Allow your breath to settle, allow your body to settle down, and just notice. If you still remember the notes you took in the first body scan, notice what changed, what is different. Notice what's new. If there's any discomfort or not. If there's any difference from your right and left. Notice your sense of support of your entire back and the spaces between your back and the floor. So whatever you feel, whatever you notice is okay. So you may want to write it down or not. And if this feels good, just you can come back to this as many times as you want. If you like it, if you know somebody that can benefit from this exploration, feel free to share. And I thank you for your time, for your presence, and see you next time. Thank you.